All right, we are all the way live. This is beautiful.
No,
Yeah, hello, welcome to I guess an impromptu stream. This is kind of an episode of Grande's Graveyard, even though we're not a Ram Nation. But I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Live and living color here on YouTube. YouTube exclusively tonight. No Facebook, uh, no Instagram Live, nothing like that. But I'm here with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world to talk horror with, the legendary, the horror boy. What's going on, Nate?
hey man, how's it going? Doing well tonight, man. Just got the old Hellraiser DVDs out of the shelf. Had to dust them off. Haven't watched them in a while.
Oh boy, I got even better. I got some VHS Hellraiser movies right here, man. So
Lucky.
yeah, I am lucky. I actually I said this on the show a couple weeks ago. I won these in a bidding war on eBay. It was literally just the craziest back and forth bidding war of all time. Oh hey Gid, Gid's in the chat. Shoot
Me
Gid a
too.
hi. Hey Gid. Yeah, I won these in a bidding war with this random guy who just would not fucking back down from me. And I wanted to kick his candy ass really bad, and eventually I did. And I won these awesome VHS tapes. It was like 37, I think I paid for the four of them. It's the first four. Shit, I just dropped them everywhere.
No, no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so here's the. Oh wait, no, the camera's this way. I always get confused by this fucking laptop camera, but yeah, I have dropped all the Hellraiser movies, so let's hope they still work. But yeah, man, I got all these on VHS. Super, super cool. And I was just like, you
Nice.
know what? Before I did say ass kid, I fucking dropped this fucking shit all over the place. Um, but yeah, during the October season, I was like, let me go back and watch these first four. And then me and you started talking about it. And then you were like, yo, we should do a stream on Hellraiser movies. And I was just like, why the hell not? And I guess we'll get into why the hell not when
Mm.
you get towards like six, seven, and
Yeah, then you really don't want to go into it.
yeah, but I will say that these will be the first five. This will be Hellraiser 2, Hellraiser Inferno. We'll discuss the first five movies of the franchise. I don't have like box office numbers and stuff, but we can definitely like look that shit up as we go.
Hmm.
Yeah, like that. But if there's anything before we get into this, if you wanted to discuss anything like currently going on with you, your channel, or the genre, or anything you wanted to discuss in general, please feel free.
Well, first of all, just thanks so much for having me on, man. It's always good to be here in the graveyard with the pajama pants play of the legendary John Grande.
Cheering this the black cat to you.
Cheers from the White Castle.
Oh, you at White Castle?
Well, I got my drink left. I don't have the rest of the food. I already ate it all.
Oh my god, what'd you get from there, man?
I got the cheese sticks. They have these cheese bites that are there, these deep fried cheese bites, and I got a couple sliders, man.
Dude, that's lit. I get the cheesy 10 sack, and it's
Yeah.
10 cheeseburgers, and then I get a sack fry and then a cherry Coke, and it clogs my arteries, but like I don't care. Like
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah. My my insides are going to be regretting it tomorrow.
yeah, your toilet will be too.
But yeah. I mean, as far as horror goes, I've watched a couple of recent ones. Kind of getting into a little bit more of the TV stuff. I haven't really watched really if I think about horror. I've been getting into Star Wars a lot. Like I don't know why I started out with saying, yeah, I've been horror. No, really, what I've been doing is watching a lot of Star Wars. I watched New Hope the other day on Blu-ray. It looks really fantastic on Blu-ray. And hopefully later on in the week I can do Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and get back into it, man. I really like watching those movies.
Dude, absolutely. And I'd love to we were discussing them the other night, and it was what was cool about it is it's just like to hear your opinion because you're actually younger than I am. And like I thought it was really cool to hear like the ones you like, didn't like, and we were discussing how I actually like Phantom Menace. I know people will hate me for that, but I always really liked the Phantom Menace. I don't know, maybe because I was a kid when I saw it, but to me it still holds up. Really, really enjoy that shit. And I was actually very happy to hear you like The Force Awakens, even though I wasn't a big fan. You actually made some pretty legitimate arguments to why you like it. And oh, Gid says Return of the Jedi is his shit. Gid, I fucking love
Oh
Return
yeah.
of the Jedi too. That's my number three. It goes for me. It's Empire, New Hope,
I love the
Return of
Clone
the
Wars.
Jedi. That's my favorite.
I never liked the Clone Wars movie.
Wow. My brother doesn't like the Clone Wars. How dare you? I'm joking. No.
Oh God, the Clone Wars. Jesus, I haven't watched that since it was fucking on, dude.
I
Like,
know. Oh, that's such a clap, dude. You mentioning that brought like memories back. Cartoon Network memories.
oh my God, dude, Cartoon Network was the best back in the day. Fucking Teen Titans and Dexter's Laboratory.
What about Boomerang?
Oh yeah, Boomerang was classic too.
Yeah, Boomerang's still there. That's you could watch all the older shows. Like it's
It's
fucking
not
great. Like
more
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Mhm.
Shit.
Yeah, man. As far as Force Awakens goes, though, I think when I first seen it, I loved it. Then because I seen it in the theater, it's really great. I will say that Force Awakens in the theater is amazing. But when you rewatch it, I thought it was just it was pretty good. I mean, I didn't really think it was as bad as Last Jedi. I think Last Jedi is 1,000 times worse than that.
Oh my God, Last Jedi fucking stinks. That's one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in a movie theater.
The newest, like the new one.
Yeah, Last Jedi had a lot of problems, man.
To say the fucking least. The only Star Wars movie without a lightsaber duel.
But I don't. Yeah, right. I don't hate the Phantom Menace though. I really don't. I think that's a pretty decent film for what it is. I actually am a big fan of Qui-Gon Jinn. I think he's really underrated.
Yeah, I like that movie too. I like Darth Maul. I think he was a great villain.
Mhm.
Love that he had no lines. There's a lot of stuff about that movie I really like, and I don't know. I always I got hate for it, but I'll be honest. I'll take that movie a million times over 7 and 8.
Yeah.
People like laugh at me when I say over 7, but I didn't really like 7 much either. But compared to 8, it's Citizen Kane. So
So I think we can all agree on that.
yeah, like that. That's one of those movies where I walked out and was like, "Oh man!" Like 7, I was like, "Oh man!" Like I don't think it can get worse. And then when I walked out of 8, I was like, "Holy shit!" I was wrong. Like I shouldn't have said
Yeah.
that sentence because we got much worse. And like that's why I'm not seeing 9. Like I think 9 could possibly top the shittiness that 8. I mean, it's going to be next to impossible, but it could happen.
Hmm.
Who knows? Maybe they'll have like a CGI Carrie Fisher flying around and fucking.
Oh no.
Dude, I don't know. The Emperor came back from a choke slam all the way down to the Death Star, and the Death Star got fucking blown up, and the
Yeah.
Emperor dead. So
Second Death Star. Now there's 3 Death Stars. It's like really, man.
horrible, dude.
They gotta just keep on bringing back the past.
Yeah.
I don't know
Horrible.
why they gotta keep doing it though. Honestly, nightmare.
Here's a question before we get into the Hellraiser movies. Do you think is the most underrated Star Wars film?
I would say probably either Phantom Menace or Return of the Jedi because I'm actually a huge fan of Return of the Jedi. Like I think that movie gets a lot of crap talked about it. I'll say out of the prequels it'd be Phantom Menace because that movie I just thought really, besides the CGI, besides Jar Jar Binks, I really thought everything else I kind of liked, honestly. I liked the world they built. I liked the way that everything looked, like just aesthetically, and I kind of like the style of it, of Phantom Menace. Out of the original trilogy, I would say Return of the Jedi is definitely most underrated. I love that movie. I think it's great. I put Star Wars above Empire, then I put Return underneath of Empire. I would say that.
Yeah, I always go with the original trilogy is the best with and it's funny, these movies, the Hellraiser movies are the fucking same. Like
Yeah.
the original trilogy is the best 3. Like anything after
Yeah.
the first 3, I literally think you need to be on fucking heavy drugs to get enjoyment out of them. Because
Yeah.
holy shit, like when we get into 4 and 5, man, I don't know. Holy shit, I don't know what to say. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
It's hard to rank that series after part 4, honestly, because it's like they're all shit pretty much.
Yeah, Al Kissin Super says Return of the Jedi is my second favorite Star Wars movie. Thank you, Mr. Super, for watching.
Yeah, he's from my channel. Thanks for coming, man.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't recognize the name, but that's awesome. See, Nate, you coming on my channel, it gets more people to watch my shit. So I need the subs more. But you're almost at 300, right? You're at 295.
Yeah, I'm on. We're nearly there. I can't wait.
This close, dude. You're gonna get
Oh
there. I
man,
promise.
I can't wait. That's crazy though, honestly.
Dude, when you get to 300, we're gonna eat a bunch of White Castle together.
Yes.
And eat it out.
300 burgers for 300 subs. I'm just joking. Nah.
Yeah, Nate
Put me in a food coma.
Gideon saw my video on Instagram, and he was saying, he was like, because we ordered a 30 case on Halloween, and
Mhm.
fucking my friend ate 14 fucking White
Oh.
Castle burgers.
Whoa, his poor
Dude.
intestines.
Dude, I had 8, and we were like sitting there, and we were just like, dude, can we do this? And like, dude, the most I ever ate was 17. I had 17 once.
Oh shit.
And dude,
Oh my
I
God.
fucking shit my brains out. Like, it was scary. Like, I didn't know a person could shit that much. And like, I remember I was like sitting here on the couch. I was on this couch, and I was just like, oh, like I was just in pain. And then I remember my friend was just laughing at me. He's like, Ronnie, why the fuck did you eat so many burgers? I was like, because I had to, man. Like, I just had to see how many I could do. But 17 is it, dude. 17 is the fucking limit. Because if I had 18, I would have been like Squidward. I would have fucking, it would have went straight to my thighs, and I would have fucking exploded all in my basement, dude. Would have.
It's a way of life. You gotta eat because it's a way of life. It's a fucking costume.
Oh my god, dude! Return of the Living Dead. You think this? How about some respect for the dead? You fucking whore. That guy's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but like American Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What the fuck?
He's also the same fucking guy in Friday 13th Part 5 who acts as Joey to death. The same guy.
That is? I didn't even realize that. That's cool.
Well,
Vic.
Vic, just forget it. But I think you're really out of line. Fucking axe to the fucking.
It's the way of fucking life, Joey.
Yeah. Dude, I always loved that Roy killed everybody except the guy that killed his fucking son.
Hey, he missed the whole point of the revenge.
Yeah, he didn't get revenge.
He
just killed everybody else.
Forever.
Awesome, man. I'll forever fucking love that. I want to be cremated with that movie in my fucking arms.
You have a quote from that movie up on your tombstone.
Oh my god, yes, a quote from Ethel on my tombstone. It's just
Eat your fucking slop.
You big dildo, and then here lies John Grande. You big dildo. Perfect. The perfect quote from Ethel on my fucking. Long live Ethel, man. Yeah, that movie, Dawn of the Dead, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I want those 3 like in my arms, and then like maybe a dew under my left arm, and then maybe like I don't know, maybe a White Castle burger underneath my right. And then just casket and like have everybody just like have everybody fucking put like their favorite snack upon my grave. So the rats eat that instead of me.
Here's your last fry.
Grande, I know you love the sack fry, man. You put it on my grave, and then you fucking pour ketchup on like you pour ketchup on. Grande,
your local White Castle, they all stop by in their uniforms, driving their
car.
Oh my
god, yes, like I was a king there. I was royalty there. Grande was one of the best kings we ever had, man.
It was Grande Castle.
He took 17 down once, man. The guy never blinked an eye. They talk to me about like a war veteran.
Yeah. They pull a flag out with the White Castle logo on it.
They start playing the trumpets.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that was Grande, man. Grande was the man. He was number 1.
That's great, man.
It says that's diet food right there. Yo, hell yeah, that's diet food, dude. That's food that will clog your arteries and like you know it, but you don't care.
Yeah, man, like Taco Bell, bro. You eat Taco Bell?
Dude, cheesy gordita crunch at Taco Bell. Fucking cheesy, beefy nacho loaded griller with sour cream. And the Doritos Locos Tacos. All that shit, the best.
Yes, man. Remember the volcano tacos and burritos? I miss those, man. I love spicy foods.
Dude, me too. And I also remember they had the chili cheese burritos where it was beef and then chili cheese. Just like they used like a fucking pump and they just pumped the cheese in there.
Yeah,
dude, it was so bad for you, but it was so fucking good.
I eat to live, not to survive.
Dude, amen, man.
Quote of my life.
Dude, I'm one of those people, like, everyone's like, oh, don't you know that's bad for you? I'm like, yeah, do you know how much fucking shit people do that's bad for them, yet they still do it? Like, I hate people that talk down to me because I eat a cheeseburger. I'm just like, yo, I could be doing a lot
worse. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
Get
get
out
them out of here.
of here.
Put it this way: you need food to survive. You don't need hardcore fucking drugs or liquor to survive. Some people might need liquor to survive, but not me.
Same here, man. Drink that water. At least try to.
Yeah, I got the fucking. I'm gonna drink an iced tea out of this fucking Salem mug.
Got the iced tea for the grande stream.
Do you remember? Do you remember back in the day they used to have the iced tea commercials where it was like the little snowman and like he was just like skateboarding. No, he was snowboarding, and then like he got to his house and then he'd melt and it was a kid. And then
Yeah.
he'd be like, "All right, I'm gonna go back out and snowboard," and he'd drink it and then fucking fly down. It was the best, dude.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Seagal commercial where he's getting like a Mountain Dew and he's like beating people up unintentionally?
Yes, yes, yes. I have seen that. That's
That's
classic.
classic, man.
Oh,
Oh,
Gideon says, God, the last time I ate Taco Bell, we got a party pack and I ate 5 and drunk 2 Mountain Dews. And I fucking ran into the bathroom and screamed a Fleetwood Mac song until I flopped out. Nate, Gideon, can I guess the song you were singing? Were you singing, Thunder only happens if it's raining? Were you raining shit? Were you raining tacos all over the fucking restroom?
oh my god.
Dude, I love how we're 16 minutes in. We haven't said shit about
Yeah,
it.
this is like a
It smelled
this is
like
like
a turtle.
a Gordon Ramsay stream over here.
Oh, dude, this is not on Ram Nation. This is just my channel. If this was on Ram Nation, they'd get very angry with me. They're like, Grande, I think we need to have a talk. Why are you talking about fucking shitting in bathrooms and sitting in the back? I don't know.
Oh
Very
shit.
entertaining, I can tell you that much.
It's a symbolism of the movies that we're about to watch. You
Very
know?
symbolic. All right, but on that note, we're 17 minutes in, so I guess we should get started with this. Yeah, so in 19, well, this movie probably. Oh, Gideon says I got the song right. That's good.
Correct.
So, this movie, I don't remember when the Hellbound Heart was written, but Clive Barker was an up and coming writer in like the early 80s, and he had written his Books of Blood volumes, which are fantastic if you can ever read them. Um, Little short stories like Midnight Meat Train, The Yattering and Jack. Awesome, awesome stuff. I love Clive Barker. I think he's a fantastic author. And he had saw Rawhead Rex, which was another adaptation from a short story he did, and he hated the movie. He thought it was a piece of shit movie, and he saw it and was like, you know what? I think I could do a lot better than these people that are adapting my work. There was one more. I forget what the other movie was that they adapted, and he didn't like that either. So he was like, screw it. I'm going to write, I'm going to direct, and I'm going to make my own horror film. And in 1987, we had Clive Barker's directorial debut, and I think one of the most underrated horror movies in the 1980s. One that gets talked about, but one that I don't know if the mainstream love it as much as they probably should. And that is Clive Barker's Hellraiser. Oh, cool. Oh, I like your edition of it. What is 20th anniversary? This DVD or Blu-ray?
Oh, it's DVD by Anchor Bay Collection.
Super cool. Is it they have features?
Oh, dude, I love this. I'm not even gonna get rid of it because to me it's a perfect edition.
Yeah.
Has a commentary with Ashley Lawrence and Clive Barker and Peter Atkins, TV spots, galleries, posters, and it has a bunch of making ofs. So yeah, this is pretty good, and the picture and sound looks pretty good. So to me, there's no reason to get rid of this. I'll just keep this.
That's
Got
very
it
cool.
for $1. These two, $1 a piece. So yeah, got them for a steal.
Wow, you got
Yeah.
over much. I paid over $30 for these 4 fucking VHSs, and you paid $2 for the first 2 movies, which are the best 2 movies probably, and part
Yeah.
3. I love part 3. But yeah, man, I'll be honest. This is a story I always tell when I first saw this movie. I did review this back on my first episode of Grande's Graveyard, and Mr. Super said I got to see a screening of Hellraiser once. I actually did too, Mr. Super. I saw it 35 millimeter about a year ago in an all-night horror fest, and it was one of the movies shown. It was like Hellraiser's Creepshow 2, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, The Stuff, House, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Saw all those movies on the same night on 35 millimeter, and it was incredible to see this on the big screen on 35. It was just such a beautiful experience. I've since watched it on this crappy VHS transfer, which is I think this might be the roughest VHS transfer movie I have because the movie looks like someone wiped their ass with the prints. Like it's just a really rough copy. But at the end of the day, to me, man, it almost adds to this movie because I don't know, it just adds to it. But I will say, I want to tell the story here. The first time I saw this movie, you'll be surprised. I wasn't the biggest fan. I actually thought it was kind of overrated when I first saw it. And I think because maybe, do you remember there was a DVD years ago called Boogeyman? And it was
Mhm.
like the best of Chucky, the best of Jason, the best of Michael Myers. And there was also Pinhead was on it. And I
Mhm.
remember seeing that DVD and going, okay, so Pinhead is another slasher. So then when I finally saw this movie, I was thinking it was a slasher movie. I thought it was an 80s slasher movie. That's not what this movie is at all. And I think maybe in some way, shape, or form, me being younger, I was just like, oh, I expected a slasher movie. Not a horrible movie, but I felt that's it. Like that's kind of overrated. It's only upon really getting older that I really fell in love with this movie and I really realized how fucking great it is. And I really love this movie. I think this is a classic. The description on the back here is actually really cool. I like it. It's like old school VHS uh, description here, but I don't know. I love this one. I thought it was overrated the first time I saw it, but every time I watch it, I always find new things about it that I really, really enjoy. And I think it's just a masterpiece. But man, tell me, what were your initial thoughts on when you first saw Hellraiser?
Well, first I got a quick question. Are there any like old school vintage like commercials in that VHS at all? Like any old
Okay, so not on these two on part one and two. This is from like a standalone company. I have it right here. Hold on, I could look up the company right here. Um, Star Maker Video. Never
Hmm.
ever heard of them. They have these cool. I will say I like the gold plating on
Mhm.
these. I think it's kind of cool. And then with this one, this is I believe a Paramount release. Yeah, and you can even see on the tape that you have. The light's kind of bad here. Sorry about that. But yeah, it says Paramount on it. This
Hmm.
one, Hellraiser 3, had some awesome old school trailers to it. And it also had like a point where it was like, oh, Clive Barker, send in your newsletter to him and he'll get back to you with an autograph. It was really funny. I thought that was great. And then
Hmm.
Bloodline, this one had some trailers to it too from like some direct to video horror movies at that time. But
Hmm.
no, unfortunately, these two just the first one is just the movie, and then the second one they have like a little coming attraction for Hellraiser 2, which I thought was
Hmm.
weird.
Yeah, because I had like two VHS tapes before. I had a VHS tape of Blair Witch Project, and I think the other one was Austin Powers, the spy that shagged me, and they both had like old school commercials from like Blockbuster and JVC cameras. Like it was so cool. I would just say if they had the old school stuff on it, man. That'd be so freaking lit.
Yeah, the '90s ones do, but unfortunately, this is like like if people always say the term "bad bare bones DVD." This is a bare bones VHS. There's not even a trailer before the movie. It's just the movie. It's the movie, and that's it.
Hmm.
And it is a rough copy of the movie. And I even this one too. Uh, when we get into this one, like the last like you can't really watch the credits. This tape is so worn out.
Mm.
Like after
Wow.
it ends, the credits are even they just start getting all over the place, and I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
But
It,
yeah, so old school VHSs. But I was just like, yo, for the novelty and to get a classic movie on VHS, had to do it. I'm a mark like that.
uh-huh. That's cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
no
pretty
doubt.
cool.
But do tell me, what were your initial thoughts with when you saw Hellraiser?
All right. Before I get into this, my internet is like wishy-washy. So if I cut out for a second, just wait for like 3 seconds and I'll be right back. It just does that sometimes. So if I like, I'll be back. It has to reconnect.
I'll be back.
So keep you guys in suspense. But Hellraiser, this believe it or not is the first way I saw it. I actually had the a VHS of it I bought from a flea market for like 90 cents, or not 90 cents. It was like 50 cents, I think. And it wasn't as cool as that one. It's more of a newer VHS. It came out in like 2000, I think. And it has like a really bad cover too. But I seen that on VHS, and I'll be honest, I'm the same way with it. I wasn't really into the Hellraiser movies at first. Even the second one I seen on Netflix like a year later. And all right, there we go. I think it was because I was a little too young. That'll happen a lot. Sorry, guys, but as long as we can keep doing it, you know. But as a kid, I don't think I just seen these a little too young, man. I mean, I was watching Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, the Saw movies, you know, and I really was used to that stuff. It was like fast paced, edited stuff like that. Whereas with Hellraiser, it's much more of an adult, mature, slow burn, classic horror film. I just don't think I was ready for that kind of stuff. I mean, even Phantasm as a kid, not really as a kid, but you know, when I started getting into horror in like middle school or whatever, I watched Phantasm. I really didn't get into that either, but now I love Phantasm to death, and I love Hellraiser to death. I mean, I think it's just to me, Clive Barker really knows how to nail that style, and I just don't think the reason why the sequels, most of them don't work, is because Clive Barker really didn't have much to do with them, if anything to do with them. And I think it just he has that energy that kind of rubs off in the first three movies, especially that I just really thought was really cool. I love the cast of the movie. I thought that the lead girl did a great job. I thought that you know I think her name is Ashley Lawrence. She did a great job. I like the mom and dad characters. I also like Doug Bradley. I just think that it's a film that has a lot of classic stuff in it. You know, I love the lines. You know, Jesus wept. You know, such a great line, and I just remember it's a very graphic film. I mean, as far as going into the pleasure stuff and dealing with the subject of cheating on this girl cheats on her husband with this other guy, Frank, I think is his name, and he's like a pretty much like a typical you know edgy guy, and she cheats on her husband with him, and it gets into that dark stuff very well, and it really knows how to handle that dark atmosphere. It's a grim movie. It's a movie that I thought had a really good attitude to it, and it really goes into some great stuff about the flesh and pleasure and the box, and I just like George Lucas. I mean, we're talking about Star Wars, but Clive Barker knows how to make these universes tick, and I think the first Hellraiser is a classic, man.
I totally agree with everything you said, and I think one of the things I really like about the original Hellraiser is it's really an adult horror film. Like it's
Mhm.
really, I think there's a reason we didn't get into it is because we were children. Like the whole S&M, the sadomasochistic, like all that shit, and the stuff with all that the ultimate pleasure and seeking pleasure and pain and all the themes in this movie just totally went over my head when I saw it, as I was expecting a fucking dumb slasher movie. And this is
Yeah.
anything but that. This is Clive Barker's too smart to do a dumb slasher movie. And don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on dumb slasher movies. I love them. But when it comes to Clive Barker's vision, this movie is just a masterpiece, I think. I always thought too when I saw it that it was mainly around it was going to revolve around Pinhead. But in this movie, it's really not. I mean, what are they in the
Mhm.
movie for? Maybe 7 minutes or so
Yeah.
of screen time, and but we always remember this poster image. I feel like in a lot of ways, we'll get into other thoughts on this, but I almost feel like this poster makes Pinhead the franchise because like in every movie, he's the cover. And
Mhm.
this movie, he's really not the main antagonist. It's Frank. Frank is the main antagonist in this movie. And then, Pinhead is just the lead Cenobite. He's even credited as the lead Cenobite. He's not credited as Pinhead in this. Um, but man, yeah, I just love it. I think it's imaginative. I think it's really dark. I think it almost really feels like you are watching a novel. The
Mhm.
Hellbound Heart, of course, was what this was adapted from. And yeah, like you said, I love Ashley Lawrence as the final girl. I think she does a great job. I really liked the actress. I always forget it, Claire Higgins, who plays Julia. And I always thought, man, like the shit someone will do to get have good sex. Like I always thought, damn, like
Yeah.
this bitch, because basically the premise is that uh, Frank is looking for the absolute best pleasure of his life because he's been with every woman, he's tried everything, but it's still not enough for him. He's a real like bad cat,
Mhm.
and he's having sex with his brother's sister, and he finds the puzzle box. And what is your pleasure, sir? And I love that. I think that's awesome. And he gets pulled apart, and then it's years later. A little blood gets spilled on the floor, and he gets resurrected. And Claire Higgins starts killing off people one by one in order to get his skin to grow back, and so they can have sex again. And like, I just thought, wow, like that's an awesome little storyline right there. Like, it's like a really dark porno. And I don't know, man. I really thoroughly enjoy that theme of this. The acting is great. I think the mood and the atmosphere is great. I think the score is fantastic. I always forget the guy's name, Christopher Young. Christopher Young's score in this movie and in the second movie, I think make those movies like
Oh
even
yeah.
better than, because it's like the kind of somber do 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 do, like it's very good. And I don't know, every time I listen to it I get chills. And it really puts you in the mood, I think.
Hmm.
um an excellent film, I really do. I think every the special effects, we can talk about those. I mean, when Frank is reborn and he's fucking coming up there and like, oh my god, like that's one of the best special effect makeup scenes. Like, people talk about the transformation scene in American Werewolf in London, that's great, but when Frank's like corpse is coming back in this, every time I watch it I'm like, how did they fucking do that? Like, it's so well done, man. Every aspect I think is perfect.
Yeah, man. I think you nailed it, man. I mean, the music, I thought you really made a good point on, because the music just really adds an extra layer to the movie, and the special effects are just, it really is like this and The Thing and a couple of those other like really great slasher films of the 80s that can really show how practical effects can shine and kind of in ways surpass CGI. I think if you would have done that in CGI, it wouldn't have been as authentic, it wouldn't have been as impactful as it is. And I think even though Pinhead really isn't in the movie a lot, I think what makes it work in this movie more than the other films, that it's still able to give you a good cast, and it's still able to give you a good it's still able to give you a good villain of the movie, and Frank, and he's not even really, he's kind of underrated because he gets used in this and the second movie and he's never really brought back up again. So it's kind of, and he's not even in the second movie technically.
And the same with
Mhm.
Julia.
Yeah,
I've read stuff that there was a point in time where Julia was going to be the lead heel after part two. It was going to be her again and again and again. But I think they realized that no, we have something with Pinhead. We have to run with Pinhead.
yeah,
And it's something that they just kind of fell into. But I don't know, like I think the reason I love this movie so much is because of the themes. We like, okay, were there movies that dealt with sexuality and horror before this? Sure. But like going this dark with it and the S&M stuff and the ultimate the puzzle box and the mysteries of that. And it's so brilliant because I remember when I first watched it I was like, damn, like what is that puzzle box all about,
mhm,
and I just thought it was so fun to kind of ponder, where does it come from, what does it do, why does it do the things that it does. And it's fun stuff to talk about with friends. It's not something that ever needed to be explained.
yeah,
It's almost just like the mystique of a character. It just has a really cool mystique about it. And I just think it's so like creative. Like when I think of this movie, the first word that comes to my mind, creative. it's
mhm,
got it's got so much creativity, like the Cenobites and the look of them, the Chatterer, so scary, and Butterball with the little glasses, and the female Cenobite, and then of course Pinhead. I mean, they're all iconic, and they all, you remember them, even though only one of them really speaks, and the other three, what are they on in it for? Um, it's just so creative and so well done, and it goes to show you that Clive Barker is everything that Stephen King said. The big quote on this is, I've seen the future of horror, and his name is Clive Barker. Stephen King really made Clive Barker, and he really made this movie get the notoriety that it has over the years, because when Stephen King endorses you, people are going to see what you have. And I think Clive Barker is one of the best horror minds that the business has ever seen.
yeah. Would you say he's a bit underrated nowadays though? Because he really, after the Hellraiser stuff and after all of his adaptations, it's like it's like nobody really talks about Clive Barker anymore. It's really a shame because I think he's one of the most underrated horror masters because really, who besides like what Candyman and Hellraiser, nobody really talks about like Midnight Meat Train, which I love. I think it's great. Uh, Never read the novel, but the movie was pretty good to me.
Well, the short
And
story is very good.
yeah, I definitely want to read it. I definitely want to get more into him and authors from. Did you guys? All right, sorry. Authors from the 80s and stuff like that. I'd really love to get into more because I love Stephen King's work. But yeah, man, I think it's just classic, classic, classic. It's how you do it right. It's so different than everything else that was coming out at the time because the 80s was more about the slashers and the special, like, slashing and kills and nudity. And this really took it and said, no, we're not going to make this a fun movie. It's going to be a serious, dark delve into this.
Yes, that's the thing that people forget too. Like if you look at the age where this came out, when you go from like 80 to 84, primarily, even the slasher movies, like if you watch Friday the 13th Part 2 compared to Part 6, they're both the same formula, but one is more funny and the other is more serious. Part 2 is more
Mm-hmm.
serious. Part 6 has a triple decapitation. Part 6 has zombie Jason. Part 6 has
Smile face
James
in the
Bond.
dream.
Yes, but the genre from like 86 on was getting very hokey, and then fucking Clive Barker comes out with this movie which is anything but hokey. It takes itself very seriously. It is I always say this, it's an adult film. Like kids shouldn't see this, and it's not for
Mm-hmm.
the graphic content. I think it's for the themes. The
Yeah.
themes is why a kid wouldn't get into it. It's just not their cup of tea. It's not something that a kid would really enjoy.
I
um,
think Candyman 2 is a great example of that from Clive Barker.
Totally, totally, because of the whole origin where they killed him because he was with a white woman and all that stuff, and like that's genius. And to get back to your question, like you said, do I think he's underrated? Honest to God, yeah. And I think there's two reasons for that. Reason number one is the movie he did. He did two movies after this. Nightbreed was the first. I think Nightbreed's a fucking masterpiece. I think Nightbreed is as good, if not better, than Hellraiser. I think Nightbreed's
Mm.
great. Lord of Illusions was the second one. Definitely his weakest of the three. Not a bad film, but definitely a film I don't go back to too often. Maybe I'm due for a revisit. But I think the reason that Clive Barker isn't like ever mentioned with a Carpenter or Romero, a Craven, I feel like the experience he had with Nightbreed and the studio problems and just the arguments and all the stress he must have went through to make that movie, I think he just called it quits. I think he just said, you know what? They can't ruin my fucking novels. I'm not making movies anymore. And I think our genre, as much as I love it, I think our genre is very much more film oriented as opposed to novel oriented. Like I know plenty more people that have seen the Shining film as opposed to the ones that have read the book.
Mm.
And same thing with Hellraiser. I know a lot more people that have seen this movie than have read The Hellbound Heart. I just that's the way it is. Movies for whatever reason they're always more sexy. I guess because you don't have to pay as much attention. You can just put it on and watch it. You don't have to be
Mm.
reading and thinking. And reading is you have to commit to it. Whereas watching a movie isn't as much of a strenuous act. But
Yeah.
that's why I think it's because honestly, he's more of an author as opposed to a filmmaker. But I do think, for what it's worth, I think he made two of the best horror movies that we've ever seen, and two very creative horror movies that I love.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think Hellraiser is the one that always gets remembered, but I do think that Nightbreed is one of the most underrated horror movies of the 1990s. Um, Anybody that can get their hands on that Scream Factory Blu-ray, totally fucking do it. Do not blink an eye, especially if you love this. If you think Clive Barker's a genius, if you think this is a creative film, totally go watch Nightbreed because I couldn't give it the highest recommendation.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that movie. I've heard a lot of good things about it. But honestly, I don't the reviews I have seen on it are pretty good, but I honestly don't hear too many people talk about it. But I am definitely interested in it. Like I wonder why it doesn't get talked about that much.
I think because it when it came out, there was a completely different cut then as to the one that is now. The studio just tampered with it and promoted it like it was a slasher film, and people went into it thinking it was a slasher film, and it's not. And they cut out like vital scenes that were important to the third act and making the movie make sense. Just that movie went through such a troubled production. If you ever watch a documentary on that, you will actually just be sick to your stomach by the end. Believe it or not, I'll really blow your mind. Doug Bradley was in Nightbreed as one of the lead people that are in the town of Midian. Uh, he's one of the lead good guys in this. So as opposed to in this movie, he's the bad guy. In Nightbreed, he's the good guy. And his role, I think Nate froze for a second. I don't know if Nate looks like he's asleep. Uh-oh. Are you back, Nate? Sorry. Uh-oh, Nate's all frozen.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's good. Could you hear me anything I was saying or no?
It cut off like when you was talking about the how they cut off the footage and stuff.
Yeah, well, I was saying that Doug Bradley is also in Nightbreed, and he plays one of the lead, like, monster good guys. Now, what the studio did was they didn't like Doug Bradley's voice. So they cut his voice out of the film and had some random guy do a shitty voiceover to cover Doug Bradley. They didn't like his voice. You believe
That's
that shit? Like, they
stupid.
just any way they could meddle into that film, they did, and I think it really killed Clive Barker. I think he was just like, you know what, screw it. They can't ruin my novel, and that's what I think happened with that movie.
Why do they do that? Why do studios do that? It's like all you do is create more problems. Like it's not going to affect how you sell the movie. You could still do your. They could still not cut it and still do the trailer like that. They can easily do that, even if they wanted
100%.
to. That's
Yeah.
just crazy.
If you ever see the original poster for Nightbreed, it's this like I forget the woman's name, but it's like something's wrong with Janie's boyfriend, and it's like it looks like a slasher movie poster, but it's not. It's a movie about these monsters in a graveyard. It's a fucking classic. It's just a shame. I think that's why I think the studio and the business. I think Clive is one of those guys that loved the show, but he hated the business. And I think he was just like, fuck this. I'm going to go write. No one can ruin my creativity. And I think in a lot of ways, this is a movie driven business. And I think that is maybe why Clive Barker is underrated by, the average, horror fan. They don't get as into his work. But man, I don't know. I love this movie. I think this movie has tremendous amount of great quotes as well. He'll tear your soul apart. And oh, we have such sights to show you. Like, I think this is a fucking masterpiece. If I had to rate this one, I'd go 10 out of 10, man. I think this is a classic masterpiece of a film. Couldn't love Hellraiser any more than I do, and I get something new out of it every time I watch it. Awesome flick.
Yeah, I'd definitely say the same thing. I'd give it a solid 10, man. Classic masterpiece. It's just a good example of Clive Barker's work. Definitely his most popular example. I think just once again, man, music, gore effects, dark subject matter, it really delves into all that very well. I think the rest of the series really strayed away from what Hellraiser means and what it is, but I think it's just got a great cast to it. It's dark and it's just a great horror film. It's creepy. It's actually creepy. It's not one of those movies where we will scare your soul out of your body. No, it's like it's legit. You watch, you're like, oh, it's like Texas Massacre. It's like, oh, it's legit scary,
Yeah, it's not a movie that has many laughs. Like I remember even the first time I saw it, I was like, "This is fucking morbid." I remember being
It's
like,
a
"Really?"
serious
I was like,
movie.
"I shouldn't be watching this."
It felt evil. It felt like it's an evil movie, kind of.
Yeah, and I think that's why I love it so much. I think it's just cool that again he went against the grain at a time where he didn't he didn't direct it, but I'm a huge fan of Candyman. Mr. Super says he's a big fan. We
Yeah.
are too. I'm a huge fan of Candyman. That was taken from a short story he did, which a lot of people don't realize that the backstory with Candyman being black and the whole white woman thing that was written in after. Clive Barker did not write that part of the story.
Wow. I figured
Yeah.
it was.
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. And they actually, I believe it was the director's idea, the guy who directed it. And last I checked, that do you remember that the Shudder documentary? It was like the black, it was like Night Noir or something, and it was like the black look of film. And they bashed. Apparently, I've not seen the. This is a secondhand source told me that they bashed the original Candyman. They said it's a racist film. I get a kick out of because that character would have never been black if it wasn't for that director, and they bashed the director for being a racist. So Tony Todd would have never been Candyman without that director. So if you think he's racist, I don't know what your problem is. But
Yeah, that's stupid to me. I think it makes it. First of all, he's one of the only black slashers. You're giving him power. He's actually got a hook ripping people apart. Like, if anything, it's a good thing. You're making him a badass. Tony Todd is awesome. It's
yeah,
like
and
Ken
you can't,
Foray.
you
Ken
don't
Foray is
remember
badass.
anybody else as Candyman. Like he will always be Candyman, and it was always you, Helen, and be my victim. And it's just you can't recast him. It's like
Right.
Robert Englund. It's like Doug Bradley. You can't recast those characters. And I think that it's just a great movie. And I don't know. I know a lot of people have problems with it now, but I don't know. I beg to differ. I think the director
Yeah.
was not a racist at all. You would not. He would have been white if that particular guy didn't direct it. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
I think it makes it unique. It makes it
Me
interesting.
too.
It gives it that extra layer of, ooh, okay, this is bringing in real like stuff, real conflicts. This is definitely making it darker.
And the
And
origin is great. I think that makes the
yeah,
movie.
it's classic. I think it really fits the film like a glove, honestly.
I agree. I think Candyman's a fucking classic too. I agree, Mr. Super. Candyman is a classic.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah, gotta love Clive for coming up with the short story, but I also thank the director.
Yeah, man. Alka Super, you're definitely right, bro. It's 10 out of 10 for me if I were to rate Candyman.
Me too. I would say that one's a 10 out of 10 as well. But okay, so we ranked the first Hellraiser 10 out of 10. We really loved the first Hellraiser. But now we will move into the sequel. And this is one that I really love. I think this is a great movie too. I think this is a really, really good sequel. And it was really fun going back rewatching this a few weeks ago. I'll talk about Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Yes, as the DVD says, or the VHS says, time to play. Very cool. But I figure I went first on the first one. You want to go first this time? What are your thoughts, my friend, on Hellraiser Part 2?
Well, Hellbound is funny because I seen this right after I seen the first movie. Not really in the same way. Here, I'll show you guys. I actually put some decent artwork on this, but
That is pretty cool.
I think it has some features. It gets a commentary, featurette, still gallery, so more than I would think. Because 3 gets nothing. 3 has nothing. But Hellbound, when I first seen it, like the first movie, didn't really get into it. They weren't my kind of movies at the time. Watched it years later, and I love the film. I think what it is I feel kind of bad for Hellraiser 3 because the first one is an utter classic. Second one is a masterpiece sequel. And 3 is the one that always gets, it's the black sheep. It's the one I always feel the most bad for because I can always have fun with part 3. And people would always use Hellbound to kind of bash 3 and say, no, this is how you do a real sequel. But, if I'm really honest with you guys, besides that, my honest opinions on the film, I think it's a great sequel. I think it's, if not better than the first movie. I think it really does improve upon. You get a little bit more Pinhead in this movie. You get, a great plot that I thought really stepped up the original. And the guy who made this did a fantastic job, Tony Randall, who unfortunately I don't recognize that name. I don't think he's made anything else, at least I remember. And but I think he really captured a Clive Barker atmosphere. He really captured that dark lighting, the labyrinth stuff. I thought really looked cool. The inside of the puzzle box was such a cool idea. How they're going hellbound. We're going inside the puzzle box. We're going into Pinhead's world, and I love that. And I love how it looks. I love how the world kind of breathes on its own. It has its own kind of layer to it. I think the cast once again is great. I mean, you got Ashley Lawrence coming back to this movie, which is really awesome. You got Doug Bradley, which is awesome. You got Claire Higgins coming back, which she is kind of the main bad guy of this movie. You really think about it. And if you think about it, by the end of the movie, Pinhead becomes a good guy. So I really like that idea. I like the approach to it. I like the look of the movie. I like the score. I like the theme song to this movie. It was fantastic. Yeah, dude, Hellbound Hellraiser 2 is as good as the original or maybe even better to me. But I do feel bad that Hellraiser 3 gets the kind of the shaft. So I mean, even though the movie is great, I've always watched Hellraiser 3 over Hellraiser 2 for some reason. But yeah, I can't lie. It's definitely a really great sequel.
Yeah, I totally agree with your thoughts, and we will defend Hellraiser 3, my friend. Do not worry. When we get to part 3, I promise you, I love that movie too. But to anybody that bashes part 3, watch part fucking 4 and watch part fucking 5 and watch
Deader, dead
yeah,
fuck.
watch any of them after 3, and if you still think 3 is a piece of shit, I don't. Then you're hard to please. That's my kind of thoughts on it. But Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. I love this sequel. I love everything about this sequel. I love that it takes place right after the first movie, and Ashley Lawrence is in the hospital, and you see the blood written on the wall where you think it's her dad, and says, "Help me, I'm in hell." Awesome setup. And then you were introduced to this crazy doctor character who, I always thought was a really creepy motherfucker. And he resurrects Claire Higgins in the similar fashion to how Frank was resurrected. And dude, didn't that scene scare the shit out of you when she is resurrected? Like,
Yeah, dude, it's so gory.
oh my God. Like, he basically gets this patient that likes to scratch himself, I guess, like everywhere. Like, he thinks that there
Yeah,
are bugs
man,
on
it's
him.
so dark.
This guy scratches himself to the point where he starts bleeding all over the mattress that Julia died on, and then Julia emerges from the mattress and just basically just sucks the life out of him. The first time I saw that, I was fucking shook. Like, I
Yeah,
thought it was
man.
one of the most terrifying death scenes I've ever seen in a movie, and maybe to this day, one of the most terrifying death scenes I've ever seen in a movie. She just literally just sucks the blood and life out of him to be reborn, and I always thought that was a kick-ass death scene. And then the rest of the movie, it basically takes place in hell. It's in the labyrinth universe, which I loved that. I love that
Mhm.
they were just like, yo, let's turn up the volume here. The first movie's in this creaky old attic. That was creepy as hell. How about the next movie? We go to hell itself. And I thought after Hell, where Doug Bradley doesn't even play Pinhead anymore. Yes, I know,
Yeah,
Supercats.
for
Bullshit.
good reasons.
Yeah, no, Doug Brad. I don't blame Doug Bradley. I would have got the fuck out of there after. I would have probably got the hell out of there out of after 4 if I could have, because 4
I
is
think he wanted to make the last two, but the studio was like, "No, we want somebody different." It's like, well, fuck you if that's the case, because Doug Bradley was the best part about your direct DVD movies.
I actually heard that Doug Bradley read the script for Revelations and backed out, and then the same
Oh,
thing happened. I think the same guy who directed or who wrote 9 directed 10, and it was the same thing. He was like, "The script is shit," and he was like, "All right, well, I guess I'll get somebody else." So, but
no, they wouldn't even let him read the script. They said, "No, we won't let you read the script till you're actually in the cast." I was like,
that's it.
"That's a dirty move."
That's a very dirty move, and I'm glad that Doug Bradley called their bluff because they're a bunch of fucking pussies. Um, just to put it nicely.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I always loved the labyrinth world. I thought Ashley Lawrence is even more beautiful in this than she even is in the first one. She's just
Hmm.
looking great. I liked the other girl, the mute girl that fixes all the puzzles. I thought she was kind of a cool character. I liked just so many of the set pieces. This movie feels like a really big budgeted sequel,
Hmm.
and to my knowledge, I'm not sure if it really was. Like, I
Mm-mm.
can look this up.
It wasn't
Um,
that big of a budget. It was still kind of
but
around.
my computer stinks.
Yeah, sure, I can look it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
just
think it cost that much more. I mean, if it did, it cost probably a little bit more, but
yeah. I know the first one was $1 million budget and it made like 14 million, I want to say. So that was a pretty big profit from a really small budget. And then this just feels like such a grand movie. Like it feels like the finale. Um, I think again, I think it's just a great atmosphere. I love the universe that it takes place in. I wish there was another Hellraiser other than this that tried to go back and have it take place in hell. Like I thought that would have been really cool. But
mhm.
it's nice again that this one is the only one that really takes place in hell. It sets this one apart. And I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that about it.
Yeah,
Did you get
it
the
cost
budget?
about 3 million. 3 million it
3
made.
This
Yeah.
movie does not feel like a $3 million movie. Like if the budget is, it feels much bigger and grander than that, because of all the sets and stuff like that. Just it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I always thought Claire Higgins was awesome coming back as Julia. I thought she was even more diabolic, diabolical and stuff like that. And if I did have any problems with this one, I would say I never really liked how the one guy just started killing all the Cenobites. Um, like even though he just got the power of being a Cenobite, like I just thought that was, oh, I agree, Mr. Super. One of those brutal, such a brutal fucking death scene. So
Oh
sick.
yeah, man.
Scares the shit out of me. I didn't like that he kind of went in there and just cleaned house, but I do like the scenes with Doug Bradley where Ashley Lawrence is like, listen, you used to be Elliot Spencer. I love that. I think that's great. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I think it was cool that this movie gave you the idea that these Cenobites used to be people. And in the revelation of them being killed, you see who they all used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chatterer was a child. Like once they kill Chatterer, then it spins around. He's a kid. You're just like, oh my god! So the puzzle box somehow claimed victim to this kid, and he's a Cenobite now for the rest of his life. Like I loved some of those ideas and aspects of it. I thought that was really really cool, and I loved Elliot Spencer. I thought that was a cool backstory, and they go with that on part three. They go into who Elliot Spencer was a little bit with part three, and I don't know. I think this is an excellent fucking sequel. I really, really love this movie. I think everything about it. Tony Randall was the director. I think he does a fantastic job with this. I know I've heard he's not a fan of it. Apparently, like if he could go back and fix things, he said over the years that he wishes there are things he could change about it. I don't really know what I would change other than I would have the Cenobites put up a bigger fight. But
Yeah, that was pretty. I was like, Hellraiser getting killed like that? I was like, no
yeah,
way.
you killed the whole Cenobite guild in a minute. Like I was like, yo, these guys are badass. They're not getting squashed in a minute. Like this is not a WWE squash match. This is bizarre.
This ain't Dream Master. You can't kill off the Dream Warriors like that. Come on. I love
Yeah,
Dream
man.
Master.
I always thought it was funny that somebody the defense is that, oh well, they had just learned that they used to be humans, so they were all like in a weaker state. Which is I guess a cool excuse, but I don't know. I've
I
always just
love part 4. I just that part I was just like, what?
yeah. I think the coolest is in these movies too. I love the chain gimmick. I love when like Doug Bradley just looks and you see the chain get him, and he'll look right, and the chain will get like he just looks in every direction, then he just looks you in the eyes like I got you.
Mhm.
Like I love that. Like Doug Bradley can just sell so much with just his facial expressions. It can't be understated how great and vital I think he is to the whole series. I think as great as Clive Barker is, and he is really the reason we have this series. I feel like Doug Bradley really carried it after part one. I think Doug Bradley is the reason I almost watched two, and he's definitely the reason I always watch part three because I think he's the best thing in part three.
Yeah, man. Um, yeah, I think Hellraiser 2, yeah, is definitely and you make a good point. I mean, Doug Bradley really is a force in this franchise. He really is. He keeps it going. Even though you're like, man, Inferno sucks. I want to see Doug Bradley, deader. I want
Yeah.
to see Doug Bradley. Where's he at? Come on, man. And it's like, man, he could only get him for 2 minutes, but he did good in it.
Yes. Best
He
2
always
minutes
did
of that
good.
entire movie.
He always had good lines too in the sequels.
Very good lines. Yeah, they I know a lot of people say eventually he becomes like a Freddy where he's just spitting out one line. Like by the time you get to Hell World, that's what they're doing. But man, I don't know. Like I kind of think he was always good at delivering the lines, and he always made it creepy, but he always made them sound intelligent. And I don't know. I just always thought Doug Bradley was a great. I think the most vital part of the series after part one. And I love him in this. I just love this one is just like I love when he finds out that he's Elliot Spencer. He's just like, oh my gosh, like, and then he gets killed immediately. I was just like, oh my god, like so crazy.
Yeah. I think also the sets look amazing in this movie too. Like the sets are very practical. The way the labyrinth looks, I like that.
The fire beds, like that scene,
Yeah,
front rank
creepy.
with the fire. Oh my god, it's awesome.
Just creepy. It seems like you're literally in hell. I thought they really did a great job at making it very dark and menacing. And I really like the music too. The music made it feel it's like Dawn of the Dead, man. I mean, there's just so many things in the movie that make it feel much more bigger than what it really is. I mean, really think about it, that's not a lot of money to make a movie, but they use certain techniques, whether it's the camera, the music, the effects, that make it really look like that. It feels grand. And I think it's one of those sequels that kind of is like the Dawn of the Dead or Terminator 2 or Aliens, like the
Yes.
sequel that really bumps up the original Evil Dead 2, it's like it's on those levels.
It does. It does. It really, that's the perfect, I couldn't have said it better. It really just ups the volume. It's just like, all right, first movie, creepy attic. Second movie, we're going to go to the hell world. Like this is literally going to take place in hell. And then part three, they're just like, shit, like we just went to hell. Like, I guess we're going to have to go back to earth, which is literally hence the
Yeah.
title of part three.
Hell on Earth.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
put hell on Earth.
Yeah. No doubt. But, yeah, man, I really love Hellraiser, Hellbound Hellraiser 2. I think it's a fantastic sequel. If I had to rate this one out of 10, I'm probably going to come in at a solid 9 out of 10. I really, really enjoy this one. Have a really good time with it. I think it's creepy. I think it's atmospheric. I love the finale when Ashley Lawrence and the other girl, they escape hell and they're running and the door closes and it feels very epic. It's a very epic
Right.
sequel. And they do leave it open for kind of a third one. Granted, although I always feel like maybe it could have just ended here. It would have been fine as an ending. But I would have been fine with the next movie as an ending too, because I really love part three. But yeah, Hellbound Hellraiser 2. I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. High recommendation. Love this flick. Tony Randall did a great job. Ashley Lawrence is beautiful, and I really enjoy the set pieces and the world and the labyrinth and all that good stuff. I love Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Awesome sequel. How about you, my friend? What's
Can
your?
you hear me?
I hear you now. Yeah.
All right. Hellbound Hellraiser 2, I would say I'd give it probably a 9.5. It's pretty close to the original. I mean, it really does know how to handle that scaling and that atmosphere and everything. It feels so Clive Barker, and it really does still cover the flesh pleasure stuff. I also thought it was creepy how um like the guy that enters the room, he like enters his room of dead bodies, and she like goes up to him and like sucks the life out of him. And I think her skinless is also creepy. And like that guy, the professor guy's like, why are you in love with her? She's like all like she has her skin off of her. She's like horrifying, man. And she becomes like a mummy. I like that image of the mummy stuff. And
She's in the
yeah,
white suit. She's in the white suit, dude. So scary.
yeah. It's so creepy. I think it creates a lot of great images. And yeah, Hellbound Hearts 2, I give it 9.5 out of 10. Love it.
Beautiful. I love it too. So that was the end of like the first two. A lot of people consider the first two to be classics. I know some people like two over one, some like one over two. But then I'm not positive if it was originally, I think it was then sold to Paramount or it
Mhm.
was the Weinsteins, like something, the Weinsteins got their hands on it about 4 years later. In 1992, when they brought in director Anthony Hickox, who had made Waxwork and Waxwork Part Two. He also directed one of the Warlock sequels with Julian Sands, which I really love those movies,
Me too.
especially the first couple. I always forget the last Warlock movie, but he brought in Anthony Hickox to make Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. And you could see that Mr. Barker was now relegated just to being a presenter, whereas I think he was a producer of part two. He may have, I don't know if he produced this or I think it just he presented this. And then after part four, he didn't have anything to do with these movies. I got to say right off the bat, and I know you'll love me saying this, I think this is a very underrated sequel, and I think this is a fucking kick ass sequel. A lot of people hate this movie, and I can dissect as to why I think that, but I will also dissect as to why I think it's a riot, why it's a joke. Um, this movie, the thing what I think they went for is I think knowing now the Weinsteins think they probably went Freddy is dead now. It's 1981. Freddy's dead. Jason is about to go to hell. And Michael Myers is in purgatory right now because we don't know, the ending of Halloween 5. We're trying to figure out what the hell to do, right? So I think they bought the rights to Pinhead and they were just like, why don't we see if we can make him the next Freddy Krueger? We can make him the next slasher icon. Because as imaginative and great and creative as the first two movies are, the thing that we all remember is this guy right here. We all remember Doug Bradley. And I think, like I said, his contribution to the series cannot be understated. I think he's just the man. And I think this was them going, let's make this a big slasher. Let's make him the franchise. And do I think they should be faulted for that? No. They wanted to make money with an awesome character. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like people get very angry about it. They go, "Oh well, it's a disgrace to the series and it's a disgrace to the creativity club." Blah 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 blah. They fucking went a different direction with it and they tried to make it a kick-ass slasher. And I think they've made a very fun, awesome little movie right here. I love this movie. But I want to hear also, I know you love this one. Do tell me, brother Nate. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is your favorite of the franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, that usually shocks people when they hear that. They're like, "What? Oh my god, Hellraiser 3 sucks." And at the time, like you said, the critics really were rough on the movie. It didn't make a lot of money. It bombed, and it really was the black sheep, and it kind of still is. I mean, Bloodline gets a little bit more hate, but Hellraiser 3 is the one that's forgotten. And I remember as a kid, I'd never even knew they made a Hellraiser 3. I was like, oh, there's only 2 movies. Nope, they made a part 3. And I think they put the first 5 on Netflix. So I watched the first 5 when I was like in middle school or whatever. When I first got back into horror. Or when I first got into horror, I should say. And it's my favorite because I love what they did with it. I love everything about it to me. I think it's the movie that, even though I love the style of the first 2 movies, this is really the one that I sorry about that, making the character of Pinhead really the leading character, making it about him and him the star. And I like that. I like how they made him a badass. He's chains everywhere, ripping people to pieces, all practical effects. You have literally a scene in like a dance club where he is killing people left and right, and some great effects. I'm like, these effects are beautiful.
Big body count.
Yeah, and the body count is amazing, and none of it really gets talked about. But I thought the atmosphere was dark and really just gritty, and still had that Clive Barker feel to it of the pleasure and the flesh. I like our lead. People don't like her. I like her. I love her. She's great. I like her friend. I like the camera guy character. I like the asshole of the movie. Those characters are all really well done. And I like Doug Bradley. I love the idea of split Doug Bradley, where it's, his human side is in limbo and is evil, the pure. So really, this movie, you're getting the most pure evil Pinhead you can ever get. And you're getting his pure evil side. He is literally ripping people to pieces in this movie. And he is just fires. We're talking about scenes where I know it wasn't easy to do, where they're outside and these sets are beautiful. You got fires and explosions going into a church, the windows blowing in. You got the ending of the movie, which I really liked. Go to hell, stabs him. I love all of that, man. And the reason it's my favorite is I feel like it's the most fastest paced Hellraiser film. I think it's the most fun Hellraiser film. I think it's the one that I thought had just great effects, had still some great scenes. And I like the design choice of Hellraiser. I know people laugh at it, but Hellraiser and the statue, I like that. Just to me, it was kind of cool. It was different. And I like the score. I like the filmmaking, like, direction, cinematography, the writing. Yeah, I'm honestly a really big mark for this movie. I love Hellraiser 3 to death, man. It's my favorite one.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said again, and I agree. I think the cast is super underrated, like you said. I think Terry Farrell does a great job as the lead. Joey Summerskill, I think, or Summer something. She's great. Paula Marshall is really good as like the junkie friend, and she's like in between of what she should do and stuff like that. And like I always love the scene where Doug Bradley kind of talks to her, and she's about to leave the room, and he kind of talks her back in. It's one of my favorite Pinhead
Oh
monologues.
yeah.
He's just like, no, like don't close that door, come back. And like it's as a fan, as a viewer, you're like, get out of the room. But
Yeah.
that's the charm of Doug Bradley, where you're just like, she can't he's just too soft spoken and brilliant to not listen to. You have to hear him out. And yeah, man, I always loved how fucking brutal this movie was. Like,
Mhm.
even, like the first kill from Pinhead, where JP, the asshole character, he has this girl come back, he has sex with her, and he's basically just like, you know, I picked you tonight. I'm gonna pick another girl tomorrow night, and I
Yeah.
want all these girls to have sex with. And she's just like, well, fuck you. And then Pinhead grabs her and then just in one full swoop with one hook, completely de-skins her and then fucking consumes her. And I remember being
Yeah.
like, as a kid, the first time I saw that, you'll laugh at me. I actually did not start the movie from the beginning. Like I just had like I was skipping through it, and then I started it there around there, and I didn't know that was coming. Like I didn't know that Pinhead was in the pillar and shit. And dude, you talk about a mark out moment. I remember as a kid when that happened, I went, oh, like I got up and was like, holy shit, like, and then he was just like eating her, and then JP is just like, holy fucking shit, like what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Like that's what it's all about. I love that kind of shock kills. I can remember watching that really late night as a kid and just being scared shitless by it. I think this is really it's honestly like I know people see this as a knock, but I think it's like a Freddy movie. It's like a Hellraiser turned into a Freddy movie. I think it's very much like that. And like I don't think that's a bad thing. There's a lot of good Freddy movies. Dream Warriors, Freddy's Revenge, you know, Dream Master. Awesome fucking Freddy movies. And this one is I think it takes that formula and it nails it with a different character and it's its own movie at the end of the day. Um, I know there are a lot of people that get upset by this, and I will agree. I wish Ashley Lawrence could have been in it more. Like I would have really liked to see her come back and maybe reprise the role. I know she's in it in a brief cameo, like the scene where Joey finds the character Joey. She finds like a tape that Ashley Lawrence recorded back in the day, and it's her, and she's like warning people about the puzzle box and stuff. I would have really liked to have seen Ashley Lawrence had a bigger role, more prominent role in it. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, she did not come back uh, like in a big role. But I think most of the cast, other than that, they do a really good job. And I've heard a lot of people shit on Terry Farrell. I don't really know why. Like, I think she's beautiful for one thing, and I think she's a really good actress. And I really, again, I can't understate. Oh, are you back, buddy? You look frozen for a little bit. He's still frozen, I think. Um, but again, like I was saying before with Doug Bradley, I think Doug Bradley gives probably his best performance as Pinhead in this movie because they give him so much to do. Oh yeah, Nate says sorry he froze. It's okay. Um, I think he's so good in this because this is when you really learn who Elliot Spencer was and how they are split, like Nate was saying before. And it's great. It's the split personalities of the good Elliot Spencer and the evil Cenobite Pinhead, and they've been split. And he's trying to warn Joey of, okay, he said he'll rejoin in a second here. All right, I'll just shoot him the thumbs up. Yeah, I really enjoy that uh, they're split, but then at the same time, it's Pinhead, you know, it's Joey trying to figure it out, and I love some of the scenes where it's her dream sequences, and she sees Doug Bradley in the field, and she's just like, you know, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And he's just like, Joey, hell is what's happening, and we are here to stop it. And I just love that stuff. I think they're so good together. I think they had a nice chemistry. And I think it was tough for Doug Bradley because he had to play the dual role in this one. He had to be the good Elliot Spencer and the evil Pinhead and the remorseless Pinhead in this one. And I just thought that was really cool to play those and blur those lines and play the lines of black and white and then meet that gray area towards the end where they merge together. Really liked that. I love the scene where they're in the bar and Pinhead just cleans fucking house, killing everybody in all these bizarre creative ways. Just super like Nightmare on Elm Street in that regard. Just it reminds me a lot of the Freddy's Revenge, the in Elm Street 2 when Freddy attacks all these people at the party. I thought always thought that was an excellent fucking scene. Just awesome stuff. Oh, Nate's calling me on Messenger audio. Hold on. Nate, my man, what's going on?
Hey,
Ha Nate's calling on audio. What happened?
I don't know. I think my computer crashed real quick, but I'm gonna try and get back in real fast.
Do you want me to remove you and then you want to just click the stream again?
Yeah, just send me another. I'll go back and repeat. Yeah, just remove me and I'll go back and I'll click the link again.
Okay.
Sorry, y'all.
No worries. No worries. Just come back when you can. All right, peace. Okay, so we're figuring that out. But for now, you're just going to get good old me and these awesome two badass horror movie posters behind me of April Fool's Day, which is finally getting a Blu-ray release, which I'm super stoked about. And this one also is getting a Blu-ray, already has a Blu-ray release from the same company. Pretty badass. But yeah, going back into why I love Hellraiser 3, I enjoy that scene, the massacre scene at the bar. I thought that was really cool. And then there's a really fun scene in the church where Terry Farrell's character, she runs into the church and she runs into a priest's arms and she's like, "Father, Father, the demons are after me." And he goes, "Demons? There are no such thing as demons. They're just parables." And fucking the next thing you know, Pinhead just opens the doors up of the church and he just walks in and then Joey looks at him and she goes, "Well then, what the fuck is that?" Like I love that fucking line. It's so awesome. Like this fucking Mark Priest going, "There's no such thing as demons." What the fuck is that, Mr. Priest? Like, love that. Just excellent comedy. And that's the thing I think that Anthony Hickox did a really good job with. There are some laughs in this. There are some points where I find it very funny. And I love Anthony Hickox for that. He has a very great sense of humor. Really, really cool director and writer. I love Waxwork 1 and 2. And I think it was really cool that he got the job to direct this. That was really cool, and that like felt very Anthony Hickox like he was just like, let's lighten this up a little bit. And then you have these awesome Pinhead one-liners as he's like mocking Jesus and the cross and stuff like that. And I am the way. And he does this. He spreads his arms out, laughs, and all the windows start breaking and stuff. And I love the priest is just the most over the top. He's like, "How dare you?" And he runs up to him and he's like, "You'll burn in hell for this." And then Pinhead just goes, "You humans have such a limited imagination." I just thought that was awesome. Oh man, Mr. Super goes, "I was worried Nate was going unfriended on us." Dude, that fucking movie, holy shit, dude. He's going full on Laura Barnes on our asses, right, Super? Holy shit. Dude, I'm gonna stick my hand into a fucking blender like the fat kid in Unfriended. Blows my mind people like that fucking movie. I don't know. That blows my mind. It's blasphemy. But um yeah, man, I love that scene in the church though. That's classic Pinhead and I am the way. Nate says he's still working on it, super, so he'll be back. Just like the Terminator. But yeah, I love that I am the way and the arms and I think that's awesome. And I really like the finale where Joey kind of looks down and all her friend has become a Cenobite. JP has become a Cenobite. Some of the people that are working at the club have become Cenobites. And I know the Cenobites get a lot of shit like for their designs. Like there's the CD Cenobite and the cameraman Cenobite. Ready for your close up? Um I won't lie. Like the last time when I rewatched this, I do laugh at that. It's very fucking hokey. Like oh Nate says sorry. Oh Nate, it's all good. We'll get you back on here. No worries. Um, I think that's it's so fucking hokey, but it's very entertaining and enjoyable. I just love that. I don't really get the hate. I know it's cheesy, but I don't know. I think it's enjoyable, and it's. I always thought the CD guy was scary. I was just like, dude, could you imagine getting a CD fucking just thrown so fast and hard at you, get hit right in your skull and kill your ass? Like, I don't know. That kind of scared me to death. Um, and I like just the explosions. It really does feel like a grand finale. It is hell on earth for a lot of ways, shape, and forms. And like, I don't know, I like it. I think it's fun. A lot of people, I think, again though, they take it too seriously. They're just, oh, well, this is fucking bullshit, you know. And yes, Mr. Super, Unfriended fucking suck dick. That is a piece of shit fucking movie, and I don't understand how anybody liked it. Uh, Blows my fucking mind to no end. But is what it is, man. Um, yeah, I don't know. I have a blast with this movie. I think this is a fucking blast from beginning, middle to end. I think uh, Doug Bradley gives his best performance as Pinhead in this. I think it's a very fun, fast-paced film, like Nate was saying. Does it borrow some stuff from the Freddy Krueger formula? Yes. I could argue that it is a fucking Freddy film in a lot of ways. Like it really is. Like that scene where that one woman is looking and then Pinhead becomes like this blue thing and it flies into her mouth and it's this big icicle. That's a fucking Freddy kill to me. That's just my opinion. Like that's totally a Freddy kill, but it's awesome and it's really well done. I think Hitchcock was the perfect guy to get for this because he was just like, yo, okay, you want me to make this mainstream. You want me to make him a mainstream slasher. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to have crazy amount of gore, crazy amount of death scenes, crazy amount of good practical effects, good performances, a good story that you cared about. Is this about the sexual themes of the first two? No. Is there sadomasochistic stuff in this? No. But there didn't have to be. It doesn't like I don't understand people that are just like they hate this movie and they'll say, "Oh, well, it gets away from what the first two do right." That doesn't mean what this did was wrong. Like that's just I don't know. I think this is a fucking awesome departure from the first two. If you were going to go some other direction, I think this movie went in the right direction. When we get into the next piece of shit corn turd sprinkled fucking film, that's when you're gonna fucking get into the real shit. Okay, this is the real shit right here. I can't wait to shit on this. I may shit on this movie on live on camera. You might if I have to shit. Um, yeah, though, I don't get the hate for this movie. I think this is a fun fucking Hellraiser movie. I think it's a perfect end to a good trilogy. I almost always have seen these movies as a trilogy. I almost wish it had ended here with Joey throwing the box into cement and then seeing the building is all the building is the lament configuration design. Fucking funny, but very funny at the same time. And like, I don't know, I enjoy it. I think this is a really good one. Love Doug Bradley in it. Love the atmosphere. Love the hardcore terror and horror and just a really, really good little flick, man. I love Hellraiser 3 Hell on Earth. I think this is an underrated little gem. I'm going to come in with the same rating I had for part two. I'm going to come in with a 9 out of 10 for this one. Really excellent little movie. And to me, the last truly great Hellraiser film because it's all fucking downhill from here. 9 out of 10 for Anthony Hitchcock's Hellraiser 3. I really enjoy it. So basically, Hellraiser 3 came out and it did okay, but it didn't set the world on fire. And what I mean by that is they were like, all right, well, we tried to make him Freddy. It didn't really work. And I think the reason it didn't really work was because the days of Freddy were gone. The days of Jason were numbered. The days of Michaels were pretty much gone at that point too, until 95 with the curse of Michael Myers, which some would argue it was still gone. But I think, and that movie actually will play a role in this next movie I talk about. Same director, kind of. But yeah, Hellraiser 3 wasn't the biggest box office smash, so they decided, all right, we're going to give this one more try, and we're going to try something completely different. We're going to try something completely bold, and what they tried fucking sucked ass. It stinks, okay? I am talking to you people about Alan Smithies. Hellraiser 4 Bloodline. All right. This fucking movie stinks. I, with a passion, hate this fucking movie. My friend Wes has said it best with this fucking movie. He saw this movie opening night in the theater and fell a fucking sleep. That is how much it bored and uninterested him. I cannot fault Wes. He fell asleep in a crowd filled with fucking people in the theater and fell asleep. It's just sick. Okay. So why is this movie an Alan Smithy film, right? We can get into some of the shitty backstory with this movie because it's more interesting than the movie itself. Kevin Yeager, who designed Chucky, who designed some of the awesome Freddy Krueger effects for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Part 4, just an awesome effects guy, was brought on and they said, we want you to be the next director for the Hellraiser films. He said, that's great. I have a great idea for the story. And he basically wanted it to take place in 3 separate timelines and tell 3 separate kind of stories. The origin of the box, then the present day, like a direct sequel to Hellraiser 3, and then a aspect of it that takes place in fucking outer space. No, I'm not kidding. Some of this movie, the climax of this movie takes place in outer fucking space. Not kidding. This is the Jason X of the Hellraiser films, right? Or the Leprechaun 4 in space, or Critters 4 in space. And dude, this is another where, people say, oh, it's always bad when they go to space. Yeah, this is always bad when it goes to fucking space. Yeah, Kevin Yeager, that it was a very bold, ambitious move, but he basically didn't like what the studio was doing. They were meddling too far into it, and he said, fuck it, I don't want my name on this fucking piece of shit movie. I'm out. He left, and they brought in the man that directed The Curse of Michael Myers, Joe Chappelle. And they asked him to do a lot of reshoots and stuff. And most of the stuff in space is Joe Chappelle's directing, not Kevin Yeager's. Hence why it is credited as an Alan Smithy film. That's the most interesting thing about this movie is the shitty backstory. Because the movie itself is the cure for insomnia. It's a piece of shit. The first part, they go into the origin of the box. And right then and there, I have a fucking problem. Why did we need to know the origin of the box? That's the only thing of mystique we had with this series that was left. Like, it was cool learning the backstory of Elliot Spencer and that he was this guy in the war and suffering some stress, and he opened the puzzle box and inadvertently had to become like Satan's favorite demon. Awesome. That's awesome. That's a cute, good little backstory. But the box, man, they go into this backstory where a toy maker made this box for this guy, and then they kill this woman, and they fucking, dude, it's so painfully fucking uninteresting to me. I I didn't even I remember rewatching it recently. I just didn't care. I was just like, this is fucking boring. Um, they go into that, and then they fast forward to this guy in space, and this guy's like, basically, oh, I'm related to the guy that created the puzzle box. And then they fast forwards to 1996, where the girl they killed all these years ago, she goes after the box, and she finds the building that has been made since part three, and Joey Summerskill and stuff. And that's yeah. Nate said he's still working on it. Stupid internet. Um, so she goes into the fucking building, and she finds the puzzle box there, and she interacts with Pinhead there, and it's a snooze fest, man. There's a fucking Cenobite dog in this fucking movie. It's a piece of shit. Oh, I think Nate's back. Brother Nate.
Hey, I went to the cell phone.
Oh boy.
See, you're from here.
Okay,
Hear me?
great. Yeah, it's a little really laggy actually. Okay. Well, I hope the cell phone works. But yeah, I'm just
All
shitting
right,
on
is that
the movie. Yeah, that's a lot better. Well, I don't know actually. I can't really tell. I don't want to. If I talk over you, I'm sorry.
okay?
But yeah, uh, this they have a Cenobite dog in this fucking movie. Kim Myers from Elm Street 2 shows up in this, and it's just a fucking absolute fucking turd, man. And then they fast forward to the stuff in space where they once and for all blow up Pinhead in the space station like it's the fucking Death Star, and the fucking movie ends. Dude, everything about this movie sucks. The Cenobites in this movie suck. The twin cops that he conjoins together to become some kind of fucking Silent Hill fucking reject Cenobite. Oh my god, like I really this movie's 81 minutes long. It feels like it's 81 decades long. It fucking sucks. I hate this fucking movie with a passion. I think it may be, man, it's probably better than shit like 7 and 8 and 9, but like I don't know, man. For the ones that had a budget and for the ones that were theatrical, this is definitely the worst one. Like by far the worst one. This is a piece of shit movie, and I hate it with every fiber of my being. So, Nate, if you'd like to talk, give your thoughts on this one, I'm all ears, my friend.
All right, let me know if I'm like glitchy or not. Am I sounding okay?
You sound good now, yeah.
All right, yeah, I plugged the headphones and hopefully that works. Um, Hellraiser Bloodline, it's a very weak movie. I didn't know you hated the movie that much. I really didn't. I don't know if I would say I hate it compared to like Deader and Hellseeker and, in my opinion, Inferno. Like at least the movie feels like a Hellraiser. I can't really say it's a weird movie, man. I don't love it. I don't even like it. I think at best it's watchable. You know, you have a night where you don't want to use your brain. You know, just pop it in just to maybe get a watch. But it is pretty boring. It's pretty slow. The space stuff is really just. It really is the bottom of the barrel, bro. It's the bottom of the barrel, and it's definitely the start of a downfall. Um, Again, compared to the others, I wouldn't say I hate it, but I don't love it. I'm not going to defend it. It's like Halloween 5. It's like it's got some stuff in there, but overall, the movie just has too many problems. It's way too slow, way too boring. Yeah, Bloodline is just really bad, man.
Yeah, and I just think like the whole direction that they went, the convoluted story, like why the fuck do you go that route? Like why? Like you're coming off a fucking awesome, fun, badass slasher movie. Then you go to this fucking snooze fest? Like
Yeah.
that was their big idea? Like, oh my god, and some of the fucking quotes on this are just kill me. A nonstop nightmare. Yeah, it's a nonstop nightmare because it puts you right to fuck to sleep. And then fucking the most terrifying of all? The most terrifying of what? What the fuck is terrifying?
It's not
The
even
most,
scary.
it's the most terrifyingly bad. I could see
Yeah.
that. It's fucking I hate I think this
Didn't
is
Joe Chappelle like quit making it or something? He like left in the middle of making it.
Kevin Yeager
Kevin
left
Yeager.
in the middle of it, and then they brought in Joe Chappelle's dumbass to fucking reshoot it. Um, sorry, yeah, I made fun of Joe Chappelle. I don't, but he stinks, man. Even though I don't mind H6, I actually prefer his cut too, which is pretty funny. But man, yo, anybody that thinks Halloween 6 is a bad film, please watch this fucking turd and see if you could stay awake. Because like I watched this during the day. I had gotten up. I'd been up for 2 hours, and it made me sleepy. That's not right. Like, oh my god, dude, I hate
The
everything about
prequel
it.
stuff was so unnecessary.
And it was bad. It wasn't entertaining. Like people always go, "Oh, Adam Scott's in the prequel stuff." I'm like, who the fuck cares? Like it'd be funnier if Will
Isn't
Ferrell
it?
and John C. Riley were also in it.
Yeah, that'd be one hell of a movie right there. Isn't it
Yeah, it'd be a lot better than
like the
this.
first half of the movie is a prequel and the last half is like a sequel or something like that?
It's told in three parts. The first part, well, it starts when they're on the space station, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm opening the puzzle box," and there's this horrible fucking CGI robot picking apart a horrible fucking CGI lament configuration, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna open up and summon Pinhead," and then they fucking go back into the fucking past where the box was created, and this dumb fuck is like, "Look, it is my masterpiece," and I'm just like, dude, you're taking away the mystique of the fucking box.
Yeah,
That
we
was
don't
the
need to know the
fun.
origin of it.
That was the creativity of the series. That was the thing that set Hellraiser apart. And then in this one, you're just like, oh, well, this toy maker made it in the 1800s. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. Horrible direction to take this. And then when they go to the current day, where it's just this direct sequel to part 3, it's just a mess too because you're following a really unlikable family and really I felt bad for Kim Myers that she had to be in it. That fucking kid from the Shining miniseries, who I don't mean to bash kid actors, but that kid sucks. He's a terrible actor. He looks like he's fucking like permanently fucking confused. I don't know. Um, fucking retarded. And then Kim Myers, poor Kim Myers is just trying to act through it, and man, it just stinks. Uh, Screw all you cucks. Romantic comedies are better. Uh, dude, Gideon, I'd rather watch like 24 straight romantic comedies than watch this fucking movie again. I'd watch a bad romantic comedy over this. But yeah, man, and then that stuff just ends all poorly and anticlimactically. And I don't know, like I think it's very convoluted. Like Pinhead knows the Angelique character from the 1800s, and I'm just like, wait a minute, how the hell do they know each other if she's been in the real world for 200
Yeah.
years? Like, it's just such a fucking. The word that comes to my movie when you think of this is mess. This is a
Yeah.
fucking mess. I think this is one of the worst like franchise movies that got released in a theater. Like if I had saw this at a theater back in the day, I probably would have asked for my money back. That's how fucking much I don't like this movie. Um, I think Hellraiser 4 overall, I'll stop bashing it. We can, unless you want to talk about it a little bit more, but I've said my piece. This movie's a piece of shit. I'm going to give this a solid 2.5 out of 10. I wipe my ass with this movie. I think this is a piece of shit. And I think that the studio is to blame. And this is the movie that really killed the franchise because part 3 is a master. Part 3 is Citizen Kane compared to this movie, and I don't care what any fucking marks say. I've heard people say they think this is better than part 3. Give me some of that shit you're smoking, and I don't even fucking smoke. This movie stinks. This is a Hall of Painter for me. This is like one of my least favorite horror movies. I hate this. Never watch this. Never watch this.
This entry knows ways of suffering.
Dude, you want the ultimate fucking pain, man. Forget the puzzle box. Just fucking pop that in your VCR and you fucking shoot yourself before it ends.
Have a like infinite loop of Hellraiser 4 through Judgment or some shit.
Oh my god, dude. I'd fucking
That's hell. And Children of the Corn. Oh no. And
This
Amityville.
even makes Children of the Corn sequels look good. Actually, you'll laugh. I believe on this VHS there was a Children of the Corn trailer. I'm pretty sure.
Oh shit.
Can you imagine watching this in like whatever Children of the Corn, Fields of Terror or whatever, like back to back?
Oh dude, that'd be fucking nightmare, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, man. Hellraiser 4. Hellraiser 4 just really. I mean, maybe the only thing going for it is like some good effects, but besides that, it's like really dull, really boring. Plus, they never bring this guy back up ever again. It's like they bring him up in this movie. He's not in the original movie. He's not in the sequel. He's not in any other Hellraiser movies. So, like, he's a very important character, but yet you never heard about him before. You know, it's weird.
Well, here's the thing. This is the end. Like he kills Pinhead at the end. This is in timeline. We've never got anything after this movie. So this is technically the end. Like all these sequels can go on until this year where he's finally killed. I hope that doesn't fucking happen. But holy shit! Like you talk about a poor fucking ending. The ending of part 2 is a fitting ending. The ending of part 3 is a fitting ending. The fucking end of this fucking movie. You blew him up like a Death Star? What the fuck? This ain't a Star Wars film. Oh god, dude. Holy shit.
It was going for that too, man. It was going for that Star Wars feel. I was like, what the hell?
Oh,
like, it doesn't fit,
Super
man.
says, what a rant that we're only on part 4. But I'll be honest, Super, I hate 5 too. And this is only the first 5 for the people watching. We'll get into the other ones on part 2, but I don't like much either.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, and Gid asked a question. So what's the most important or best part of a horror poster? Like the style or way it's presented, because I'm thinking going all out for my film's poster. Gideon, I will tell you this. The best posters are the most simple posters. Case in fucking point, that bad boy right there. That is original video one sheet of Sleepaway Camp 3. Look what you got here, Gideon. You've got a big ass rack of titties that you want to fucking slobber on. You've got a knife. You've got some blood on the knife. You've got some awesome badass yellow text. You've got blood dripping off the knife. And you've got fucking bright red lipstick. And the awesome tagline, which you can't read because my camera is fucking almost as dog shit as Hellraiser Bloodline. It says she's back last year's record. That's an awesome fucking tagline, Nate. And Gid and Super and everyone watching. And you can look at this bad boy. April Fool's Day one sheet signed by Amy Steele with a little bit of glare, but I'll put my head over there. Awesome fucking poster. All these dumbass teenagers cheering at a table, a knife, a little noose. And then you can even go even more fucking. I'll get up to show you all this one. Maniac. Fucking decapitated female's head. A big bulge in the penis. Yeah, sorry about that. Big penis bulge, knife, blood on the floor. I warned you not to go out tonight. Gideon, it's all about simplicity when it comes to fucking. It's all about simplicity when it comes to horror posters. So that is my answer to your question, sir.
I was good, Super. The Children of the Corn sequels, I used to be the same way with them. But I don't know. I haven't seen them in so long. I'll have to watch them again. But, man, there are some really bad movies. And they're like, part 2 has a death scene of a guy being impaled by a corn stalk. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Does it really? Holy shit, I don't remember that. It
shoots through a windshield. And it impales him. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, part 3 is the best sequel, in my opinion. And, like, 4 is fucking cheesy. And I don't know, man. But if you like them, man, that's cool. I actually really did used to think they were guilty pleasures, but man, I don't know. I've rewatched them.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, dude, and it's just out of nowhere too. It's fucking crazy, man. But yeah, like as far as posters go, again, was Cornstalk. Yeah, the Cornstalk shoots to the freaking windshield of a car and impales the man. It's fucking great. Such a fucking weird kill.
Oh my god.
But
That's fucking...
Good as far as posters go, I would just like John said, just keep it simple. Look at 80s posters, 70s posters, so you see how they used to put a lot of creativity in the artwork and really make it unique and not like today's poster just plain. Like Halloween 2018's poster is pretty much a ripoff of the It poster. Like it's a black and white background. You know, you also have the Jigsaw poster, the same thing. It's like a ripoff of that. It's the same pose. So yeah, just look at the 80s posters and 70s and really like and make it like that where it's like stylistic and cool looking. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with you.
But the close off Hellraiser Bloodline, man, it's just really bad, really boring, really slow, really just nothing to it, man. But I don't know if I can actually hate it that much. I mean, it's just like a meh kind of movie for me. But it's definitely not good.
What would you rank it out of 10?
I'll give it probably like a 4, honestly. 4.
Okay. So we give it a 6.5 out of 20 combined. So that tells you how great Hellraiser 4 is.
Oh shit.
So after this turd, I decided I'm not spending my money on any more of these movies. I don't own any of the Hellraiser movies past 4. And honestly, to God, if anybody would want this to have, I would just like a small amount of money for it, and it's all yours, because it's a piece of shit. But yeah, getting into the last one we'll talk about for this particular stream is one I just revisited at work. It's free on YouTube. You can watch it. It is Hellraiser Inferno, and it is directed by Scott Derrickson, who also went on to do The Exorcism of Emily Rose. He made Sinister. He's made some horror movies that people like. The other one, the Exorcism movie, not oh Jesus Christ, Deliver Us from Evil. That was it. He made that one too, I believe. Another, I fucking had a hard time getting through this one too, and I just watched it like while I was at work. I had nothing better to do at work, and I was like, let me try to watch this. Fucking mistake. Holy shit, what a piece of shit. Another movie I don't like.
Oh my god.
But I'll let you go first because I feel like I've been ranting for 41 minutes in a row. Like,
I mean, it's Hellraiser 4. That movie's actually pretty shitty if you compare it to everything else. But, bro, Inferno for me is when we really get to the fucking shit. I mean, probably the only good thing in the movie is that the lead character I thought was okay.
Craig Sheffer.
It's just, yeah, I thought he was probably the best part, honestly. But every fucking thing else was just so boring, man. It's slow, it's cheap, it really does feel like, oh, we have a script laying over here. Let's make it a Hellraiser movie. Let's put Pinhead in the like last 5 minutes of the movie. Literally, yeah, there's like no need for Pinhead in this movie. And Jacob's Ladder is better than it. Seen Jacob's Ladder? You've seen this movie. And then Hellseeker fucking rips off Hell Inferno. Like, how the hell do you rip off a sequel? Like, these sequels really irritate me, man, because they're greed. They're just they're signs that, you know, series done. You didn't need any more movies after part 4. Hell, you didn't need a part 4, even though part 3. Whoa.
Oh shit. You still there, buddy?
No.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, I'm back on my computer again. Yay.
I was like, what the fuck?
I know, that came in my ears like, ow.
Oh no. Device is not connected. Okay. Nate got disconnected again. Yeah, so I guess I'll get into Hellraiser Inferno while Nate tries to get back on here. Hellraiser Inferno is a fucking turd of a movie. It's Craig Sheffer. It's also when the movies went directed to video. This is when the series decided to be like, yo, we're not good enough for theater anymore. But it amazes me that part 4 was in a theater. It really does amaze me. I would just love to have seen how fucking pissed people were walking out of that. But Inferno is Craig Sheffer, and there's somebody killing people called the Engineer, and he's trying to figure out who the fuck's doing it. and it's a fucking mess. It's very boring film. Oh, okay, Nate's back. Okay,
You
Nate's
see?
back.
See this fucking movie? It's causing my devices to fucking glitch. God damn it, man. Sorry about that.
Is
Yeah,
the engineer forcing it all? The fuck?
I guess so. He's
Are you
fucking
the engineer?
set up a fucking twist for me. Your internet was always off. Ah!
Dude, that'd be an excellent twist. It'd be better than the twist in this movie.
Yeah, man. I think Inferno actually does get some decent remarks. I don't know. I can't do it, man. It's just too bad for me.
People
But I
really
didn't want to.
like it. It blows my
Yeah,
mind.
I didn't want to interrupt what you were saying though. You can continue if you want.
Yeah, he's finding all these people dead, and you find child's fingers, and this is one of the big ones where it goes a lot into like these random Cenobites that you never see again or never seen before, and like I said in Bloodline, they look like Silent Hill rejects. They just look terrible, and they're not scary, and they're not good. Very weak, I thought, with the Cenobites in this film, and I would say that it's just it's not I guess it's not as bad as 4, but it feels long again, and it's very fucking drawn out, and I don't like the lead actor. Well, I think he's all right, but like I don't like his character really. He's not a character you root for. It's one of those
Yeah,
movies you
he
have nobody
really.
to root for. Like Nicholas Turturro, you can't root for him. The lead actor, you can't root for him. The deaths are nothing special. It was written as something else, and then they added Pinhead to it, and that really shows. The best scene in the movie is when Pinhead shows up at the end and he gives his speech of "Welcome to Hell." That's very good, but it takes an hour and 30 minutes to get to that point at an hour and 39-minute movie. So
Yeah,
it's not worth it, man.
it's not.
I will say I do like the look of Pinhead in this movie, but my problem is he's hardly in the fucking movie. So I don't know. I'm not a big
Does
fan
he
of
have
Hell.
like nails instead of pins?
Yeah, they definitely look thicker in this movie. They definitely use something different for the look, but I thought he looked kind of cool. And I do think I will say give some credit. It's not a poorly directed film. It's definitely directed a lot better than Part 4.
I think it has some decent shots too. Like,
Yeah,
some decent ideas, like where he's like standing behind his door and he hears his parents get killed and there's blood that comes in the door. I'm like, that's pretty cool image to see. Nightmarish.
yeah. It has its moments. There's definitely moments, but overall, it's fucking really boring. I think,
Yeah,
and
piece of
it's slightly
shit.
better than Bloodline. It is slightly better than Bloodline, but it's still not a great movie, and it's a little bit longer. It's like an hour and 40 minutes about, and definitely feels that. I thought it was pretty long, and I was at work, and I was just like, oh, it should go by fast. No, didn't. Dragged out. Brutal, man.
Oh man, that must have been the worst movie. Like, it's like, man, damn it, this fucking movie.
Dude, well, next time when we stream and get into 6, 7, 8, I have to rewatch all
Oh
of
my
those.
god.
And like I
Oh
am not
my
looking
god.
forward to it. You may not see a part 2 to this video until like, a year from now. Like that means I have to rewatch Revelations and Judgment and Hellworld and holy
Yeah,
shit. Like
I
when you
don't
get into
remember a
that
thing
stuff,
about Deader.
yeah.
Deader and Revelations. I don't remember a fucking thing about those movies.
Yeah, Deader was bad. Deader might be like the next worst one after 4, but I don't know. At 5, I don't like it. I think it's kind of a tedious movie. I think the twist is kind of lame. I don't really like the lead character, and overall, not a big fan. I would say about a 4 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it lower. I might give it like a 3. It's, to me, what makes it less than Bloodline for me is that it's just not really a Hellraiser movie. It feels nothing like Hellraiser, even though Hellraiser 4 is shit. But I think at least we got Pinhead in it. We got some good effects in it. We got some good stuff, some good stuff. But in this movie, it's not really a Hellraiser movie, and I don't know why this and Hellseeker and Deader decided to and Hellworld decided to go like in that route. I mean, it's just, why can't you make these low budget direct-to-video slasher films with Pinhead. Like that's a simple formula. 3 did
I
it.
think
I love
Hellworld
3.
Hellworld does that, but the other three, this one is like a crime cop drama with the shittiest fucking music I've ever heard in a movie. Part 6 is a ripoff of this movie, a bad ripoff. 7 is a fucking snooze fest, and then 8 is just so stupid that it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
Lance
yeah.
Henriksen and fucking Catherine Winnick and the guy who played Superman. I forget the fucking guy's name. Uh, the guy who plays Superman now. I can't think of his damn name.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, Henry Cavill was in it. Like that
He's
one's
in that movie.
yes, yeah, he's one of the victims.
Oh shit! I didn't even
Yeah, so is
realize
Catherine
that.
Winnick, who's become pretty big on that Viking show. But yeah, man, that one's definitely the only one that took that what you just said, like a cheesy slasher pinhead movie. That one is that. But again, that movie's a piece of shit too. So
It's still shit. Yeah, it's
it's
still
more
really
it's
shit.
more fun than 5, 6, and 7. Is it better? I don't know, like from a critical standpoint, but it's more entertaining. I would say that it's definitely more entertaining. It's anything's more entertaining than 4. I mean, you could watch grass grow, and it's more entertaining than 4.
I don't know, but maybe. Well, what about Revelation? That's pretty bad too.
Revelations is fucking bad. Yeah, Revelations is pretty. Revelations is probably the worst one, but I fucking don't like part 4. Considering part 4 had a budget, I kind of am harder on part 4. Revelations had no chance to be good, so I almost expected it, and they made it just because they were losing the rights and shit. So that'll be a fun one to shit on the next time we do this.
Yeah. What? So when they make the remake, will they care if they lose the rights or not? Like after done with the remake?
I mean, I don't think they would lose the rights after the remake. I think they'd probably try to make a sequel to the remake. That's always the plan.
Oh yeah, true.
Like if the
Yeah.
remake does well, they try to make a sequel to it, and then then you looked at Elm Street remake. It did well financially, but the movie was a piece of shit, so they didn't decide to go with a sequel. And then the Friday 13th remake, it did really well, but for some reason, critics and moviegoers alike didn't get into it, which I was ashamed of them because I thought that was a perfect return to that formula. But for some reason, they just decided, oh, fuck it, we don't need a sequel, which I think was a mistake. I think there should have been a sequel to that one. But I think the plan is always to get a trilogy out of a remake. Like remake and then a sequel to remake and then this is the end. Like that's always the plan. So if they did, I'd assume you get a Hellraiser 2 and it'd be if it did well. But if it didn't do well, then you probably would just have a remake and then maybe they just
Yeah.
sell the rights finally.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really looking forward to that though, because most of the time we get remakes nowadays are really shitty. So
I think it would. I think if you got a remake of this movie, it'd just be really fucking gory. I think that would be like they'd hire somebody like Fede Alvarez and he'd just make it really gory, which would be fine. But like, I feel like it's a hard film. The original Hellraiser is a hard film to remake because uh, Clive Barker is why this movie works, and the sadomasochistic themes and the sexual themes that wouldn't be in the remake. The remake would be about Pinhead and I don't think it would work. I don't think it's a movie that you can remake.
I mean, it'd probably be better than most of the sequels, but I don't think it'd be as good as the original.
Yeah, but like there are a lot of comparing the sequels, the later sequels to anything worth of shit is tough. Like it's it probably would be just for production standpoint. It would probably be the fourth best one in the series. But at the same time, when you're remaking the original Hellraiser, I think the reason that movie works is very much different as to why a remake would work. If that makes any sense, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
one movie I would be interested. I'd like to see what they do, but I think I'd end up probably really preferring the original. Knowing myself, I don't think I would like if they just made it a slasher movie. I don't think that would work.
Yeah.
I don't mind in a series doing that, like part 3, but this movie, I don't know. No, there's not going to be a remake. Super, not yet, at least. Maybe someday. I know that they keep making films to keep the rights because they're a bunch of jabronis. But I don't know. I
Let's
don't know.
milk
Super.
it.
Oh, they've milked
Let's
this.
milk it.
They milk this cash cow for every drop of milk it's got, dude. It should be done. They need to fucking call it a day.
I was gonna ask you that. Do you think it's fair to say the Hellraiser series probably should stop making so many movies?
That's a tough question because Judgment, whereas I thought it was a bad movie, I won't lie. Um, I think this is tough. If I
Sorry, John.
personally, if I personally could like take over, I would just make a Hellraiser movie completely different. First of all, I bring back Doug Bradley. I'm done with the fill-in pinheads, right? The guy in Judgment wasn't as bad as the guy in Revelations, but then again, that'd be like if I fucking played Pinhead, it wouldn't work. Um, I'd bring back Doug Bradley, and what I would do is I'd discuss the ultimate pleasure as opposed to the ultimate pain. Because in all these movies, you have the people looking for the pleasure and they get the pain. Maybe in my movie, I'd have a guy looking for the pain and he gets the pleasure. And then this throws the Cenobites off. This pisses off Pinhead. Maybe the whole movie, instead of hell, takes place in heaven. And in heaven, hell, fucking Pinhead has to go up to heaven and some badass crazy shit happens. Like that would be my Hellraiser movie if I was to make a Hellraiser movie now. You could bring back some of the sexual themes where this guy had just had all this great sex. He was just like, I want to see if it hurts now, something like that. And you can go that route with it. So I don't know, like, can you not make sequels to this anymore? At this fucking point, why not? Like, you've had movies where you have a space station explode. You've had movies where Pinhead was fucking online internet killing people. You've had Revelations. You've had the movie Judgment where the auditor is throwing up sins upon these three naked whores and they tell you the person's fate. Like they've done it all with these movies. So I'm at the point where I'm just like, why not? You can keep going with it. It's fine. I don't think they're worth much, but if they were to go with my idea, I'd be thrilled to take the fucking money. And I think that the result would be really cool because it'd be something that we haven't seen with the franchise before. And like that. So yeah, like I definitely I think if they were going to stop, they should have stopped after three. But now you're at 10, so the ball's rolling, brother. You know,
Might as well as make more.
yeah, it might as well at this point. Maybe eventually somebody will make a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I really, if you think about it, it wouldn't be that hard. I mean, just approach it differently, give it a different flavor, give it a different twist, and really just go balls to the wall with it, bro. Like, why make it such boring, slow 2 hour movies when you can make an hour 30 minute gore fest? That's just like to me. If you're not gonna go back to the original formula, just at least rip off Hellraiser 3, or at least rip off and make it like a slasher. Like to me, Hellworld, I haven't seen it in forever. I don't remember liking that movie at all, but I'll have to rewatch it again. But maybe there is a good movie in there somewhere, or at least like a watchable slasher film in there somewhere. But when I seen it last time, I don't think I remember really liking it that much. But I
It's
know it
it's
covered that slasher shit.
you didn't miss anything, Nate. It's a bad film. I'm just saying, like, it's I have more fun with it than I have with part 4 and 5. Like, I think part 4 and 5 are really boring, and probably 6 and 7. When I rewatch those two, I guarantee you that 8 is more entertaining. But it's still a bad movie. Like, it's not. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to say it's good. It's just it's entertaining. That's all.
Well, no, because there's a lot of people out there that do enjoy Hellraiser 8. So I don't know, and Inferno too. It's like maybe I'll have to rewatch them one day. I don't know.
Well, we will. We definitely will for next time. But so Inferno, you gave a 3 out of 10. I gave it a 4 out of 10. So yes, those are the first five Hellraiser films. In my opinion, you've got the three classics, the OG three right here, the best three, the only three worth the shit in my opinion. Then you have the start of the beginning of the end with this movie, one of the worst franchise sequels I've ever seen, piece of shit in Hollywood's Bloodline, and then Inferno, which is a directed DVD cop drama that has Pinhead in it in the last 5 minutes. I don't know. A lot of good, a lot of bad, but I will forever love the original three, and I think that for me, it's a great trilogy. It's a perfect trilogy, and I go back and rewatch them a lot. So I love those first three movies. Definitely the highlights of the franchise for me, and yeah, I love those flicks.
Yeah, man, I agree. Hellraiser 1 through 3, big fan of them. They're great movies. Bloodline, not a big fan of, and Inferno, I think, is just pretty bad. But yeah, first three are pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt. Alrighty though, we've been at this for almost 2 hours. Unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about briefly, but dude, I had a fun time while talking Hellraiser with you. I can't lie.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been really blast. Just it's been awesome, bro. I don't think I've ever talked about Hellraiser before, like on my channel. So it's pretty cool
Yeah, I
talking
mean,
Hellraiser with you, bro.
yeah, it was great talking Hellraiser with you. This was a great idea. I'm glad we got together tonight because you'd been asking me earlier in the week, and I was just busy, busy, busy. But tonight I was like, I'm wide awake. Let's fucking talk some Pinhead and Clyde Barker and uh, Ashley Lawrence and all this good stuff. You know, the first three movies at least. So it was really fun to praise those movies and put those movies over. Um, and oh, by the way, super thank you for watching, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, Gideon, for watching. I know Gideon was here throughout most of it. I don't know if he's here anymore. But yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. There will not be a graveyard episode tomorrow. I'm going to check out The Lighthouse, the latest and greatest independent horror feature made by Robert Eggers, who also did The Witch. I'll be checking that one out in the theaters, so I won't be on the show tomorrow. I may do a show Friday talking about cannibal films of the November Nasties. That was my plan for the next show, but you know, I don't know. If I don't do it Friday, I'll definitely do it next week. So that'll all be cool. But I wanted to thank good brother Nate. Thank you for coming on talking horror with me. It's always a fucking blast talking horror with you, my dude. You are the man. You are the horror boy, and I appreciate you joining my stream.
Yeah, man. Thanks. It's been fun. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. Hopefully next time it won't happen.
No worries at all. It worked out pretty good for the most part. I'm sorry you didn't get to go gush as much as you probably would have liked over part three. I felt bad. I was like, oh man, this is Nate's favorite one. But dude, yeah,
Oh
like
yeah, man.
if you ever down the road review that one on the channel, I would really like to see your review of that because I feel like you go on to that movie for about a half hour about how much you love that one, and I think it'd be a really cool watch.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I definitely would try to give it a good review. Thanks, man.
Dude, no problem. All right, so we're gonna call this a night. Thank you for everybody that watched. Super, Gideon, anybody else that watches this after we went live. I appreciate you guys checking in with the Graveyard with John Grande and the Horror Boy, the legendary Nate Murphy. Thank you all. I appreciate it. It was a really fun stream, and we will be back. I'll either be back Friday or sometime next week. So until then, I am the Cemetery Man of Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking ass live in living color here on YouTube. Um, Thanks again to Nate, and thanks to everybody that watched. So we're going to end this broadcast now. Too sweet. Peace, and long live Pinhead.